Hey everybody, it's Moshe Fried again, and I want to talk to you today about how ClasStars is addressing the broken education system, because the education system works really well for those who succeed, for those who do well, for those who thrive. It rewards those that can do it, but it ignores those kids who are struggling. It ignores the kids that cannot do it. And there are so many kids that are slipping through the cracks, that are not being seen, that it's not working for them. And unfortunately, one of the ways that we motivate kids is by incentivizing them. We tell them, hey, if you do this, we'll reward you. Now, some kids don't need that because they're already motivated. They're already motivated by the good test scores, by their good grades, by their academics. But there are kids who are not doing that well academically. So we give them some other incentive. Maybe a token system, maybe a point system, maybe some other kind of incentive, whatever it might be. And that's fine for those kids who that works for. But there are so many kids that doesn't work for. So we've got to do it differently. We've got to take a different approach because we're losing too many kids. So let's jump into the screen share here. And let me show you exactly how ClasStars makes that happen. You see, unlike other behavior systems, ClasStars is not a point system, and kids do not need to earn acknowledgement from their teachers. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, we're going to start a session. This is the demo class. You get to see this every time. Anytime you download the app, and it's available on iPad, Google Play, or Windows. And we're going to title this session, Let's Fix the Broken System. There we go. Okay, and that's what we're going to call this class. So the first thing that we do before we go into class, before we start a class, is we want to take attendance. We want to make sure that everyone is here. And this is, you can customize the layout. You can customize what your seating chart looks like. So however your class is set up, you can have that reflected right here. Everyone is assumed to be here. So everyone is assumed to be here. So everyone is here. And whoever is absent, you just tap on them, just like that. Just tap on their picture and you mark them absent. Their picture will fade, and there they are absent. When you're done taking attendance, you tap the end attendance button, and then you have the option to check for homework. You can go to class, you can continue attendance. Let's go to class. So now you're in class, right? So unlike other systems where it's a point system and kids have to earn things. So if you do the right thing, if you get the right answer, you get points, and that's beautiful for those kids that it works for. But in ClasStars, we say teachers must engage every kid in a positive way. They must encourage every kid. They must provide support to every kid. So as a teacher, you get flexibility. You get to do that as you choose. But when you do give a kid positive feedback, you swipe up on them. Okay, and you'll see that this little meter here, and you meant to do it with your finger. It's a lot more intuitive with your finger when you got the iPad in your finger. I'm just using the mouse for these demonstrative purposes. But you'll see every time I swipe up on Kennard, there's a little notch that goes up right next to him. This is keeping the last 2 days of positive feedback. So when I look at my class overall, I could see that Colin has gotten very little positive feedback. He's gotten 1 encouragement in the last couple of days. Everybody else has gotten more. Everybody else is over the midway mark. So I really want to prioritize Colin. All right. Now, I might not have realized this otherwise, but it's my responsibility as the adult in the room to encourage Colin, to give him positive feedback. And that includes making eye contact with him, calling him by his name, and praising him for something specific and meaningful. It's important to know that ClasStars is not going to make a bad teacher into a good teacher. Okay. It's not going to do the work for you. You have to be genuine. You have to make that connection with the kids. What ClasStars does is it makes a great teacher even better. Okay. It lets you see which kids have gotten your attention naturally and which kids are not catching your attention naturally. And it brings those kids to your attention. So you go around the room and you're giving everybody positive feedback. That's tier 1. Okay, now tier 2 is that when kids are struggling, it's going to show in some kind of way. And when a kid struggles, you swipe down on that kid. Okay, so it's just like that. A swipe up gives you the positive feedback. The swipe down gives you the misbehavior. Now, this is only on single swipe mode. Once you get comfortable with this and you tap this button right here, now when I swipe up, I'm getting the wheel. So I can actually mark off, was this for good effort? Was this just encouragement? Was this because he demonstrated good self-control? Was this that he had done an act of kindness, or maybe he made a good decision? So I can encourage him for his effort. It's more specific. It's a swipe and a tap. I can also rate it if I want. So in a swipe, tap, tap, very quickly, without losing your train of thought of what you're trying to teach, you can get all this data gathered, and everything is timestamped, so you know exactly when it happens. And we've got charts that plot it out across the timeline. So you know if kids are engaging more in the beginning of the day, in the middle of the day, and the end of the day, you can really narrow it down to where the kids need your support and your help. Same thing with misbehaviors. Just swipe down on a kid and you get the misbehavior wheel: conflict, disruptive, distracted, not seated, other, talking, unprepared. All of the basic misbehaviors are right here. So if Adela is disruptive, I can tap on that and then rate it. Wasn't as disruptive as was last time, so I'm going to give it a little bit of a lesser intensity rating. Okay, now you'll notice that some kids have yellow borders and other kids have orange borders, and the border colors actually reflect the ratio of up swipes to down swipes. Okay, so when you start out, now this is the demo class, we've already got data planted in here, demo data, when you play around with this. But when you set up your own class and you go in for the very first time, you're going to see all the border colors are going to be gray. They're not going to have any border color. And the first interaction that you have with them is going to determine the border color. If the first one is a swipe down, they will have a red border. A red border indicates that there is more swipe downs than swipe ups, more negatives than positives. And that's not intended to penalize the child. That is intended to draw your attention to that child who needs your encouragement. This is incumbent upon the teacher. And this is something that is completely within the control of the teacher to give kids encouragement. The child does not need to earn that. Okay, they don't need to do something to deserve that. That is something that is a God-given right, an entitlement that they deserve to be seen each and every day. And if they are struggling, they deserve more. Okay, and sometimes I talk about, when I talk about this, I talk about the ratio and the research from the Gottman Institute on the 5-to-1 positive to negative. You'll catch that in another video. But from this video, the point that I want to make is that we're looking at it in a completely different way. Every kid deserves positive feedback every day, and everyone should be getting a fair amount. No one should come to school and be ignored by their teachers. That's number one. Number two, the kids that are struggling need more. Okay, they need more positive feedback. They need more encouragement. And that is up to the teacher in the room to do that. Now, the problem is, to be fair to teachers, there's so much going on in a classroom. There's so many demands on your attention that it is easy and almost natural human behavior to overlook certain kids. That's just human nature. That's the way our brains are wired. Okay, unless you have some kind of a tool that is highlighting the kids that need your attention, you're going to overlook some. Don't beat yourself up for it. But now you finally have a solution. You can download this app. It's free. Get it from the App Store. Tell all of your teacher friends about this. There are no more excuses. No more excuses for not noticing kids. No more excuses for kids slipping through the cracks. That's the message that I want to give to you today. If anybody has any questions, just put it in the comments, message me. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Clubhouse. You can send me an email, moshe@classstars.com, and I'm happy to answer any questions. I will see you next time. Take care.